pleasure. I guess there's so many questions to ask. I guess let me start with this, with your best friend, Donald Trump. Trump put out some comments earlier today saying that people here in Clark County in Nevada are cheating, that they're all cheating, and that's why it's taking so long. Of course, the Clark County put out a statement saying that's absolutely abundantly not true. Donald Trump, again, attacking our democracy. I would imagine you're not surprised at that.
You know, he began, so many people forget this, in the summer before the 2020 election. Donald Trump first said, I think it was June of 2020, he said to a crowd of people, either I'm going to win this election in a few months or it will be stolen from me. He said that before the election, and he said it every day, and then after the election, he said it was stolen from him. From that moment on, the Republican Party became the party of election deniers, became the party of we no longer care about the will of the people. Trump is continuing it. Look at right next to you. Kari Lake in Arizona came out today and said this election's being stolen. Here we go.
What's amazing to me, Joe, and I think you'll agree, is that the Republicans, if they like Kari Lake or Adam Laxalt, if they do win, all of a sudden that rhetoric is going to go away, right? If they win, it has to be legitimate, and there's not going to be a peep about fraud. But if they lose, it must be fraud, and only Democrats can cheat, right?
Which shows, you're right, what frauds they are, but dangerous frauds, because, and I hear from these Republican voters every day, 80% of the Republican Party still doesn't believe Joe Biden won fair and square. They don't believe he's the legitimate president. So all these lies and all these election denial, all this misinformation, it works because it has convinced Republicans that our elections process is illegitimate.
Joe, how is it possible that Herschel Walker is almost neck and neck with Raphael Warnock? How is that possible?
Because my former political party right now doesn't care about who they vote for. They just want to put a Republican in power. Now we see some of that in both parties. But again, the Republican Party has taken it to an extreme. Herschel, hell of a football player, has no business being a United States Senator, and privately most Republicans know that. But it doesn't matter. He's a Republican, so they'll vote for him.
Are you surprised that Fetterman beat Dr. Oz?
No, because, and look, I was very clear about John Fetterman that he needed to be really transparent about his health. And he had a bad debate. But I think most people in Pennsylvania looked at that debate and they said, here's a man who had a stroke. He's struggling, but he's working at it and he's recovering. That's a big difference than a guy like Herschel Walker, who, to my mind, has just permanent cognitive damage.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. Do you agree with me that really the biggest loser in this whole election cycle thus far is Donald Trump?
I disagree. I disagree. And look, I know I could be wrong easily, and I understand that every Republican donor and every Republican power broker and every Republican on Fox News and every Republican consultant and most Republican elected officials, they want Trump gone. They want to be done with Trump. But we've seen this movie before. We saw it 22 months ago. Trump leads a violent attempt to overthrow an American election, and the party sticks with him. No, I think most Republican voters are still clinging to him. I think Trump's going to announce next week, and I still don't think any Republican will challenge him.
Not even Ron DeSantis?
No, God, no, not even Ron DeSantis. Look, Trump is the leader of a cult. That's really powerful. If you want to take down the king, the leader of the cult, you better take him down. And if you don't, your career is ruined.
Do you make any?
DeSantis is young.
Listen, you might be right on that. I hope you're not, but you very well might be right. Do you believe Joe Biden when he said the other day, right now, that he plans to run in 2024? Do you believe him when he says that?
I do. I know he wants to run. I've heard from people close to him who've told me he wants to run. He's going to be 80, so he may find out in a few months he can't, or in a year he can't. But I believe he wants to.
Well, Joe, I got to tell you, from somebody that is an anti-Donald Trump person, you won't find anybody more anti-Donald Trump than I am, and I know you're right there with me. I got to tell you, I think that concerns me, because I think if Joe Biden runs against Donald Trump, I don't care who their vice president or who he chooses as vice president, Donald Trump's going to win. That's my personal opinion.
I think Trump would have a really good chance to win, but I'd throw it right back at you, my friend. If not Biden, who can get in a ring, roll up their sleeves, and figuratively speaking, go at it and punch Trump? What other Democrat could?
The problem is Michelle Obama probably doesn't want to run, but I believe Michelle Obama would be a slam dunk. She would destroy him.
She'll never run. She'll never run.
You're probably right, but you're asking me who I think would beat him. It would be her, but she's probably not going to run. I don't know.
So if not her, is there a governor or somebody out there you like?
I'm not a huge Gavin Newsom fan. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't like what LA looks like. I was out there a few weeks ago. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
But I will say this. I think Gavin Newsom has a better chance to beat Donald Trump than Joe Biden does.
I respectfully disagree. I think Biden right now, until you can show me a Democratic fighter.
What about Shapiro?
Maybe. How about Gretchen Whitmer in Michigan?
Yep.
Maybe.
Yeah.
There might be a Democrat who comes to the fore who's willing to get into a ring with Donald Trump or Ron DeSantis. I don't see that person now.
All right. Well, listen, I hear what you're saying. I'm not saying I would be overly confident in any of the people that I mentioned, except maybe Michelle Obama. But you're right. She's probably not going to run. She doesn't want to get in there. Can you imagine what this country will look like, Joe? And I know you talk about this all the time. And I know we're 2 years away. I understand. If Donald Trump is reelected as the president of the United States in 2024, what will this country look like moving forward, Joe?
I'm going to give you a weird answer. It will make his first 4 years a living nightmare. And somebody like me may leave. And I don't say that casually, my friend, because I'm on an enemies list. There are a lot of people on Trump's enemies list. If he's back in the White House, I would not feel safe having my wife and myself in this country. I think it would be an absolute nightmare.
That's really scary because you're a former congressman. You've been in this battle. You know what it's like,
Yep.
and it's very scary. And I hear why you would say something like that. And I tend to concur with you. I agree. But what does it say to you to have over 100, about 140 election deniers that just won elections the other day, and they're still counting right now? What does that say about where this country is at? Listen, I'm happy that Democrats performed better than expected, but it's not enough. Look at all these. We got Jim Marchant, a guy that's running for Secretary of State, Joe, right here in the state of Nevada, who was a QAnon conspirator. He's winning right now. He might be our next Secretary of State. He said on the record that if a Democrat wins, he wouldn't sign off on it. These are dangerous times we're living in.
My friend, I would say this. The Democrats won a battle the other night. They won a battle, but they didn't win the war. And one of America's two major political parties is fully anti-democracy. So if you're on Team Democracy, go ahead and pat yourself on the back. We had a good night the other night. Yeah. But, man, this is a war, and the threat is still there. Mm-hmm. And it's not going to go away. So, yeah, we're in for a long, scary period.
Last question, Joe, and always love it when you come on, my friend. If, in fact, Kari Lake loses, and if some of these close races, if Adam Laxalt loses, what is this country going to look like? They're going to be contesting everything, right? And the rhetoric's only going to get worse. What is going to happen? Is there going to be another insurrection? I guess that's my question.
I think, as we talk about the threat that remains to our democracy, a part of that is political violence. And I think if Kari Lake loses, we know Kari Lake won't accept the loss. She believes it will be a stolen election. I don't know what Laxalt will do. He's crazy too. And this stuff will lead to acts of violence. so we're looking at a couple years of dangerous times when it comes to violence and political violence in this country.
Weird times we're living in, Joe. Always a pleasure having you on. Your podcast is awesome. I listen to it all the time, and just so happy that you always take the time to come on this show, Joe, and I appreciate you, my friend.
Hey, quit saying that. You know why I come on? Because I love chatting with you. It's an honor, my friend.
Joe, that means a lot. It really does. Love you, my friend, and always
you, brother.
appreciate you. Have a good one. That's Joe
Thanks,
Walsh,
you too.
everybody.